All right, so we'll get started. This commences the February 11th, 2025 meeting of the Dartmouth Conservation Commission. Per the order signed by Governor Healy on March 29th, 2023, this will be a remote session as that privilege was extended through March 31st, 2025. The public will have the opportunity to participate using the raise your hand feature, which is on the Zoom screen below you at the bottom of the screen. And you can also just wave your hand physically in the screen and I'll try to recognize you. We're going to start with our administrative items. First, the approval of the minutes from January 7th, 2025. Can I get a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is seconded. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. That passes unanimously. The second administrative item is the approval of the field trip reports from January 21st, 2025. Can I get a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is seconded. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
And I see Chairman Kehoe has joined us.
Yep, that's
Me
okay.
too.
I was just running late, so no problem.
That's all right.
Started on time.
Well, I guess since you're here, would you like to vote on the approval of the field trip report from January 21st, 2025?
I'll vote yes.
All right, and I will vote yes as well. That passes unanimously. And our last administrative item is the receival of the minutes from January 21st, 2025. Can I get a motion to that effect?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Jim.
Yes.
I'm a yes, so that passes unanimously. All right, that brings us to our field trip reports.
Before we go any further, Nat or Mike, whoever wants to do this, I think we should welcome Jim officially as our newly appointed commission member for the record.
Yes, Jim,
Very good, Mark. Thank you.
congratulations on your appointment. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Excited.
Mike, any preference? I'm happy to continue if you want the
I
night
think
off,
you
but
can
if you'd like it.
continue. You're doing a great job. You started it.
All right, fair enough. All right, so our first field trip report is a request for determination of applicability RDA 25-2 from David Silvera for a wetland resource boundary determination within land subject to coastal storm flowage, salt marsh, coastal bank, riverfront area, and within buffer zone of a bordering vegetated wetland, salt marsh, and potential vernal pool habitat on land described as map 23-48, lot 2 or 80 Horseneck Road. Mark, your comments, please.
Sure. This is the second of two lots just to the south of the Russell's Mills Landing, the two large vacant lots on the hill that overlook the upper portions of the Slocum just downstream of Destruction Brook. We have issued an order of conditions on the first that was appealed by the neighbor. It is now in adjudicatory at the DEP. They have yet to render a decision. I raised that issue only because this lot is also a sensitive lot. It is complex. There's a lot of calculations involved to determine where the slope is, and there's a lot of interpretation of what mean high water or the 1 year flood event is on the river. Zenith Engineering did what I think is a very comprehensive job in modeling for all of those resources, including the BVW and salt marsh, which is obvious by vegetation. Staff has been out there. Staff has reviewed the calculations. Staff had some questions about the computations, which did not match what were on the ground. We spoke with Zenith extensively, and we came to a reasonable on-the-ground solution consistent with the rest of the modeling. And therefore, having said all that, staff recommends a positive 2A determination for all resource area boundary delineations on the plan to accompany RDA dated February 4th, 2025.
Okay,
Well, I'll make a motion that we issue a determination as outlined by Mr. Garrett on the plan of February 24, 2025.
can I get a second?
second,
Roll call vote. Megan,
Yes.
Liz,
yes,
Jim,
Yes.
and Mike.
Yes,
All right, and I'm a yes, that passes unanimously. Our second item under the field trip reports is a request for certificate of compliance for DEP file number 15-2724 or RCC 25-1 from Ann and Andrew Lakowski for a septic upgrade project at map 97, lots 19 and 20, or 5 Pennakeys Lane. Mark, your comments, please.
Yes, this is a septic repair which falls within land subject to coastal storm flowage. The original septic plan of record had the septic tanks outside of the buffer zone. There was a field change and they were moved inside the buffer zone to salt marsh. It was all lawn area. It was not anything, and frankly, it's isolated and set away from the salt marsh. It doesn't even border the salt marsh. I felt that the field change was reasonable. It was all in the lawn. It has been fully stabilized. And at this point, I am recommending a complete certificate of compliance as per the as-built plan dated November 13th, 2024.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from any of the commissioners?
No.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for a complete certificate of compliance as per the plan of November 13th, 2024.
so moved.
second,
All right, roll call vote. Liz,
yes,
Megan,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes,
Jim,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, so that passes unanimously. We will now move on to our public hearings. Our first public hearing is continued public hearing DEP file number 15-2759 or NOI 24-47 on the notice of intent from Roland and Suzanne Valois to repair an existing stone seawall / revetment, replace wooden stairs with granite flat stone stairs, replace a riprap ramp with flat granite stones to ensure adequate access for maintenance on a coastal bank and within land subject to coastal storm flowage. Relevant regulations are 310 CMR 10.02, 10.04, 10.30, and section 360-2 on land described as map 88, lot 20, or 1 Meadow Shores. Motion to waive the reading.
so moved.
second,
Roll call vote. Liz,
yes,
Megan,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. That motion passes unanimously. Is there anyone here this evening to speak to this applicant or this hearing?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. For the record, my name is Alan Haru, and I'm a professional civil engineer. This evening, I'm here on behalf of Roland and Suzanne Valois, owners of a single-family house at 1 Meadow Shores Road. I think the chair adequately described what is proposed. We presented this at a previous hearing. We continued the hearing because we needed to hear back from the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program under the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife. This is habitat for the piping plover. So we submitted a MESA project review checklist to the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program. We met with Devon Harrington and Amy Honig of the program via Zoom, and we clarified what we were proposing, which is relatively minor repair work fixing an existing stone seawall and replacing wooden stairs with stone stairs, as the chairman mentioned. The work is within land subject to coastal storm flowage, flood zone. The revised record plan is entitled Plan Showing Stone Seawall Revetment, and it's dated July 29th, 2024, revised through December 19th, 2024. We've shown photos and a sequence of construction on the plan. And the revised plan was reviewed and referred to in a no-take letter from Jesse Ledick, the Assistant Director of the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program, Division of Fisheries and Wildlife. And that letter is dated January 14th, 2025. In the letter, Jesse recommended 6 conditions of approval should the commission vote to issue an order of conditions. And Roland and Suzanne have agreed to the 6 conditions of approval listed on page 4 of the letter. The NHESP file number is 24-19062, and as the chair mentioned, the DEP file number is SE15-2759. I'm happy to answer your questions or share my screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Mark, I'd like to hear your comments, please.
Yes, I think Alan described everything pretty well. I mean, he's been far more involved with the day-to-day, especially with the Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program. Staff has evaluated the site. We think the project is a need and is appropriate. And staff recommends a standard order of conditions as per the revised plan showing stone seawall revetment dated 12/19/2024 with the following conditions as recommended by Natural Heritage. On-site construction, earthwork shall occur from land side and shall be segregated from all downgrading and jurisdictional wetland resources or stormwater catchments with properly installed and maintained staked and entrenched hay bales, wattles, silt fence, proper stone construction, vehicle access and features. Second, if overwater or barge work becomes necessary, then there will be no grounding of the barge at any time, and floating boom will be with a siltation curtain shall be deployed and isolated all work activities from adjacent and down gradient jurisdictional resources. Natural Heritage also indicated work windows, environmental windows, and the like, which Alan has referred to as being approved by the applicants, and therefore that is our modification.
Thank you, Mark. Any questions or comments from the commissioners?
No.
Is there anyone in the audience who has any questions or would like to say anything? Don't see anything. Okay, at this time, I will take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
Motion's been seconded. Roll call vote. Megan,
Yes.
Liz,
yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So that passes unanimously. The hearing is closed. I'll entertain a motion for a standard order of conditions based on the plan of record from December 19th, 2024, with the additional conditions outlined by Mr. Garrett.
So moved.
Second,
Motion's been seconded. Roll call vote. Liz,
yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So that passes unanimously. Moving on to our second public hearing. This is continued public hearing DEP file number 15-2767 or NOI 24-55 on the notice intent from Catherine Diaz and Daphne Savarine for a house and barn renovation with an upgraded subsurface sewage disposal system within land subject to coastal storm flowage, riverfront area, and buffer zone to a coastal bank. Relevant wetland regulations are 310 CMR 10.02, 10.04, 10.30, and 1058 in section 360-2 on land described as map 28, lot 78, or 30 Horseneck Road. Is there anyone here for this application?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record again, my name is Alan Haru. For this hearing, I'm here on behalf of Catherine Dias and Daphne Savarine, owners of a single-family house at 30 Horseneck Road. The lot is located within riverfront area along the Slocum's River and land subject to coastal storm flowage. We propose to lift the existing historic house and construct a new foundation in accordance with FEMA regulations. The first floor of the house will be raised approximately 3 feet. Thus, we propose stone steps from the driveway up to the house, which will be renovated. Also, we propose to renovate the barn with a new roof, siding, windows, and doors. The record plan is entitled Site Plan, revised through February 6th, 2025. The reason for the revisions is that we responded positively to review comments from the Department of Public Works Engineering Division by adding notes and details to the plan. The septic system plan was approved previously by the Board of Health and is dated March 15th, 2024. Basically, we've proposed a septic system as far away from the river using some innovative technology, and it is in accordance with the State Environmental Code Title V. As the chair mentioned, the file number is SE 15-2767. And again, I'm happy to answer your questions or share my screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Mark, your comments, please.
Yes, again, Alan summarized very well. This is a triangular lot. It's very restricted in size. It's been fully developed for years. The applicants need to upgrade certain facets of the property. The property is completely within our jurisdiction, but the work is all within an existing lawn area, whether it be in the resource areas or in the buffer zones. Having said all that, staff is recommending to issue a standard order of conditions with no modifications as per the site plan, as referenced by Mr. Haru. The revised date, February 6th, 2025.
Thank you, Mark. Do any of the commissioners have any questions in this application?
I do not.
Is there anyone in the audience that has any questions? Okay, I see nothing. I'll entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
Motion's been seconded. Roll call vote. Liz,
yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Jim,
Muted, I think.
I think I saw a hand gestures yes, but
Yeah, sorry about that.
no worries. Mike,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, so that passes unanimously.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Oh, we have just the motion.
Wait,
We
That
haven't
was
voted
to
on that.
close
That was
the
just motion to
hearing,
close the
Alan.
hearing. But
Hold
That's
on.
right. All right.
jumping the gun.
I always do that.
Come on, your
Um,
clients are watching.
I know.
I will entertain a motion for a standard order of conditions with no modifications based on the plan of record from February 6, 2025.
So moved.
Second,
Motion's been seconded. Roll call vote. Liz,
yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. That passes unanimously.
Thank
Thank you, Alan.
Thank
night.
you,
Thank you.
everyone.
All right, moving on to our third public hearing. This is a continued public hearing, DEP file number 15-2768 or NOI 25-1 on the notice of intent from the Midas Realty Corporation for the resurfacing of an existing bituminous concrete parking lot with an associated drainage and water quality improvements within the bordering land subject to flooding, riverfront area, and within the buffer zone, the land underwater and inland bank. Relevant regulations are 310 CMR 10.02, 10.54, 10.56, 10.58, and section 360-2 on land described as map 167, lot 74, or 276 State Road. Is there anyone in the audience today for this application?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Point
Christopher,
of order, I
Yeah,
think
waive the
you,
reading.
I think you need to.
Ah,
waive
yes,
the
thank
reading.
you, Mr. Garrett. Could I get a motion to waive the reading?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call vote. Liz,
yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, that passes unanimously. Forgive me, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, members, Christopher Capone representing South Coast Engineering on behalf of the Midas Realty Corporation. We have filed a notice of intent application and submitted a plan of record named Drainage Analysis Plan with a revised date of 8/8/2024. This notice of intent is submitted for the resurfacing of an existing parking lot and proposed water quality improvements at the existing site. Can I share my screen?
Yes, you may. DCTV, if he does not have access, could you please grant it to him?
Can you see that?
Not yet.
Uh,
It's coming up.
You got it now?
Yes,
We can see it.
I can see it.
Thank you. All right, this is the existing conditions currently on the site. Midas Building located on State Road. We have two existing catch basins that are now in the parking lot. We're proposing to resurface that parking lot and do away with this current drainage here that goes towards the Pascomansit River. This site is bordering the Pascomansit River, as well as the mill pond associated with that just to the rear. So we are within the buffer zone, riverfront area, bordering land subject to flooding, as well as some work associated close to the inland bank. In the riverfront area, under the conditions of the Wetlands Protection Act, we are required to make site improvements. Under those conditions, we are proposing what you see here. This is, again, the existing building. We are proposing to install two new catch basins. These basins now will reroute to a manhole, which will drain into a contact manhole equipped with a hydrodynamic separator. This will provide pre-treatment within the unit, which can remove and separate trash, debris, sediments, and hydrocarbons from that outflow. This outflow will further discharge into the secondary treatment. It's a 4x6. It's called a jellyfish peak diversion vault, designed to remove, in addition, phosphorus, nitrogen, and total suspended solids and hydrocarbons, again, before discharging and overflowing via a 15-inch RCP pipe into that river area. Our alternative analysis, as I represented, I believe has made some significant improvements to the existing conditions. We are disturbing 700 square feet of riverfront area. Of the total area, it is 26,185 square feet. This diversion vault will be constructed within 10 feet approximately of a stone retaining wall that defines the inland bank. This retaining wall will be dismantled very carefully and allow us to install that outflow pipe. There's a little more detail right here that may help you to visualize that. Oh, a little far. So this would be the inlet structure coming in, overflowing into that vault unit, and then this would be the discharge towards that existing stone retaining wall. Again, in improvements to this, we will install a Marafi fabric after we backfill it and restack the stones to their current existing elevations. If there is dewatering needs, we are proposing to handle that through containment and pumping through a filter system. All this information is contained on the plans. Erosion controls will be installed around the whole perimeter of the project. We have, think, met the concerns of what the agent had, and by making these improvements to the site. We also do have a file number for the project. It's SC 152678. And lastly, we do have within the plan packet, the operation and maintenance plans, which are required to ensure that these treatment systems continue to function in accordance with the designer's manufactured recommendations. So if you have any questions, I'd be willing to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, just a quick question. On the agenda, we have DP file number 15-2768, but I believe the applicant said 2678.
Yes,
latter correct?
Chris read it wrong. It is
I'm
2768.
No, that's not a problem. Just clarifying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Mark, your questions or comments, please.
Yeah, I think Chris handled the technical aspect of this very well. A little back history. We got a call from DPW, I'm going to guess now it was over a year ago, that repaving work was taking place at Midas, and wanted to know if we had any record of this, since they felt it was in jurisdiction, which it is. And we went out, we took a look, and they were repaving. However, repaving is really an exempted activity in most cases, but as Chris indicated in his presentation, when you're working in riverfront area, you have to make improvements where work is allowed. And the issue that we had was that this was a straight line catch basin to discharge pipe to the Pascamanset River, which didn't meet any stormwater standards of recent time. So we suggested that Midas engage an engineer, South Coast Engineering, Greg Nicholas, and working with DPW and the stormwater regs and ourselves, we came up with a solution which doesn't solve every problem, but solves a lot of problems. There is now treatment, landside treatment prior to discharge out of the pipe into the Pascamanset River. The Pascamanset River being the major tributary to the Slocum River. The Slocum River possesses a TMDL, which is being enforced on the town. So anytime we have project work associated with any kind of discharge to the Pascamanset, we take seriously the constituency of that discharge. In this case, it's stormwater, and we have regulations specific to that. Working with the engineering department, and Greg and myself, this solution was determined to be the best, the most beneficial, and the least impacting to the existing environment, which is a very impacted environment. For those of you who don't know where this is Smith Mills. You barely see the Pascamanset River because it's so narrow and channelized through that area. But the jeweler's across the street to the area of the car wash, right near Flaunt's Corner Road and Smith Mills Park. So this solution was a collaborative effort between the town and the the applicant, and staff is prepared to recommend a standard order of conditions as per the drainage analysis plan dated August 8th, 2024. And what's significant about this is that this plan does have a maintenance plan. You know, when we put in drainage features, a lot of times they're ignored, but this is part of the plan of record, so they need to follow it. If they don't and the systems fail, we have a catch for that. That was proposed by the engineers, so we were very pleased with that. The only thing that I would add to the standard order, and it would be in our erosion control condition, is that when they're working on the wall, I would suggest that they have a floating boom with a silt curtain deployed in the river to contain anything that might discharge off the bank so that it doesn't float downstream. That can be skimmed or removed from the river if necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. Do any commissioners have any questions or comment?
I do not.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a seconded motion. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. That passes unanimously and the public hearing is closed. I'd entertain a motion for a standard order of conditions per the plan dated August 8th, 2024, with one condition that a floating boom along the wall is installed to protect the river during construction.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is seconded. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Our fourth public hearing is continued public hearing DEP file number 15-2763 or NOI-24-53 on the notice of intent from Carl M. Furman for the proposed demolition of a single-family residence and soil absorption system and the reconstruction of a new single-family residence, soil absorption system, utilities and site work on a barrier beach coastal dune, both within lands subject to coastal storm flowage and within the 100-foot buffer zone to a salt marsh. Relevant regulations are 310 CMR 10.02, 10.04, 10.27, 10.28, 10.29, 10.32, and section 360-2 on land described as map 87, lot 20, or 13 Smith Avenue. I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is seconded. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and Jim.
Yes.
And I'm a yes, so that passes unanimously. Mark, I understand there's a request for a continuance for this one.
Yes, this is a rather complicated project. It's located on a barrier beach. I sent an email which I received from the engineer, and I'll paraphrase it. He says that the client keeps changing the program and we will not be able to proceed with the plan that I sent yesterday, which is in the office right now. He will send a revised plan next week, but in the meantime, we'll submit the additional fee to the portal. They have to add some a fee, and he's requested to continue the hearing to the next meeting date, which happens to be February 25th, 2025. However, our February 25th, 2025 agenda is already chock full. We have about 7 public hearings, one of which is a complicated public hearing. So my suggestion would be to move this to the March 11th public hearing, which we have yet to start an agenda for. The reasoning for a lot of these two agendas, this one and the next one, being so full is we've had several continuances over several weeks. And I think that this one is reasonable because they do have some work to do to meet what I think is approvable. I've indicated that what they've submitted to date has not been approvable. But I also, in the spirit of not continuing ad infinitum, this might be the last continuance we give them. So I want to give them ample time.
Okay, thank you, Mark. It just for my knowledge, is there anyone for this application on this evening? No. Okay. Okay, is there any commissioners that have any questions? Okay. Well, then I will entertain a motion to continue this public hearing until our March 11th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been seconded. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. That passes unanimously. All right, moving on to our fifth public hearing. This is DEP file number 15-2769 NOI-25-2 on the notice of intent from Christopher Lee for proposed house addition, expansion of existing driveway, and subsequent property landscaping within land subject to coastal storm flowage and within the buffer zone to a salt marsh. Relevant wetland regulations are 310 CMR 10.02, 10.04, 1032, and section 360-2 on land described as map 111, lot 3, or 34 West Smith Neck Road. Motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, so that passes unanimously. Is there anyone here representing the applicant this evening?
Yes, I'm Gregory Drake from Outback Engineering.
Welcome, Greg.
Thank you. Basically, I don't know if you want me to share them, do a brief overview or do a share and explain the project.
You're welcome to share if that's easiest.
That might be the best
DCTV,
way
please.
people can see it as I
Yeah.
explain it.
Perfect. You should have access to do so.
Okay. A minute here. All right, everybody see it?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. All right, so the applicant is proposing to put a 43 by 24 addition on the house that's existing, and then add this additional drive area. And what was the other thing? Oh, the landscaping, which I'll show an additional plan as well. Basically, the addition and the new drive area are within a 100-foot buffer of the salt marsh that's out there, which surrounds the whole property. It's also within coastal storm flowage and with the AE flood zone of the Dyke Creek and Ponegantset Bay. I hope I said that correctly. Let's see, most of the work is outside the 25-foot buffer, but there is underground electric that they're proposing to do from a pole that's already in the buffer already, as they're planning to take down the pole that's closer to the house over here as part of the work, because they're going to have to move the electric line that goes to the house now. And we are proposing silt fencing for erosion control that acts as the, also acts as the limit of work on the project. And the disturbed areas will either be loamed and seeded, or when after you have, if you have questions with this plan, and then I can show you the landscape plan, which shows a detailed landscape all around the house and this new drive that's going through. This area right now is mostly grass. There are existing trees that they're gonna try and keep as many as you can, many as possible. The only trees that would be taken down that are out there now would be around where the addition is itself. So I can open up to any questions on this plan, and if you want, I can share the landscape plan after that, so.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Drake. I'm wondering, since we're voting on this all in one package, if it'd be helpful just to see the landscaping plans together. I don't know if the commissioners have an opinion on that, but
I agree with you.
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
so Mr. Drake, if you wouldn't mind, just walk us through the landscaping plans you've got, and we'll consider it as one total package.
Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing this one and I'll open up the other one. I'll be right back with.
Okay, we see it. Thank you.
Okay. We get a little closer if you want. Okay, so this shows the addition, and then shows that there will be a garage underneath the addition. It doesn't have a full foundation, the addition. It only has a frost wall, so it won't be going that deep. And then there's a deck that goes around on this outside, and this shows the driveway and additional plantings. That there's also planting beds here that and a lot of the existing trees you can see around here, they are keeping. And I'll push this over a little bit, and it shows where the drive is going through here. It might be a little hard to see that, but these are existing trees they're trying to keep or proposing to keep, and then add additional landscaping from that. To my understanding, they're going to be using mostly natives and non-invasive plants. I don't have it's a master plan right now, so it's not detailed, but I can get you any plant lists or anything like that that you need if you need a little more detail on that. So I can open to any questions on this as well.
Okay.
Greg,
Thank you,
I
Mr.
have
Drake. We
one
appreciate
real
it.
quick. What's the date on that landscape plan?
That is,
Is there a title block?
yeah,
Can you scroll down to it?
sure. You see it right there? Yeah.
Yeah, I see it. I don't see the date though off the top of my
I
head.
think it's November. if I'm not
November
mistaken.
25th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's November 25th. Yeah,
Okay.
there we go.
Yep, got it.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Mark, I guess I'm interested to hear your comments at this stage.
Yeah, as Mr. Drake said, the driveway and the proposed addition to the house are located in buffer zone to the salt marsh within floodplain. I did send the cut sheet that I sent you, the site plan. I highlighted the colors, the green the green solid line was the 100-foot buffer zone in the center of the plan. The broken green line was the 25-foot buffer offset. And then the yellow line across the top third of the plan is the floodplain between the velocity zone and the AE zone. The work, as Mr. Drake said, is in the lawn area. The site is pretty much completely lawned except for the fringes in and around the 25-foot buffer zone, which are on slopes down to the salt marsh. Pretty much natural vegetation. In terms of landscaping, the landscaping plan, most yard area landscaping is exempted from regulation. And all of this is within the bounds of their erosion control. I think the northeastern portion of the erosion control could probably be extended a little bit more, as I will cover in the conditions. And I think one of the conditions that I would also suggest is that we need a plant list with size specification to be approved by staff prior to the implementation of the large woody vegetation. The smaller stuff, the flower beds and things of that nature, native species are fine, but we'd like to get a sense of what the tree cover is that is going to be proposed and the numbers. Having said that, staff is prepared to recommend the issuance of a standard order of conditions as per the site plan dated December 23rd, 2024, the landscape plan dated November 25th, 2024, with the modified condition that the silt fence, the erosion control be extended to the east from its current terminus, and also that there be a plant schedule and specification sent for staff approval.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I have a question of Mark. You said extend to the east from its current terminus. How far would the extension be, Mark?
To encompass all of the work area. I mean, it looks to me, I'm guessing that I see some large trees near the fork on this landscaping plan that will look like. They're the 3 trees there above that, Greg. On the above the driveway area. No,
Right in here.
not those.
Over here?
No, to the other end. Yeah, right there, right below that. Yeah, right in that area. Okay, those trees appear to extend beyond the extent of the silt fence as shown. I'm guessing, extending the silt fence another 100 feet would cover it.
You get all
Okay.
these plants in here. Okay.
So that would be my recommendation.
Thank you, Mark. Do any of the commissioners have any comments or questions?
I should have waited, shouldn't I? I'm sorry.
It's okay. Get special privileges. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment? Okay, I will entertain a motion then to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
Motion is seconded. Roll call vote. Liz,
yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, so that passes unanimously. I'd like to entertain a motion for a standard order of conditions per the site plan dated December 3rd, 2024, and the landscaping plan dated November 25th, 2024, with the modified condition that erosion control measures be extended to the east to encompass a full area of work or approximately 100 feet, and a plant list and schedule is approved by staff prior to any work being completed.
So moved.
second,
Motion's been seconded. Roll call vote, Liz,
yes,
Megan,
yes,
Mike,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, so that passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Drake. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, we're moving on to our final and sixth public hearing of the evening. This is DEP file number 15-2770 or NOI-25-3 and the notice of intent from Key Point Partners LLC, care of Christopher Serrano, for the implementation of a vegetation maintenance plan within the 100-foot buffer zone to an inland bank, land under a waterway, and bordering vegetated wetland. Relevant wetland regulations are 310 CMR 10.02, 10.04, 10.54, 10.55, 10.56, and section 360-2 on land described as map 183, lot 83, or 57 Fonts Corner Mall Road. Motion to waive the reading.
So moved.
second,
Motion is seconded. Roll call vote. Liz,
yes,
Megan,
yes,
Mike,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and I vote yes, so that passes unanimously. Is there anyone here to speak to this application?
Yes. Hi, everyone. For the record, my name is Chris Serrano. I'm Vice President of Property and Asset Management with Key Point Partners LLC. We are the management company for 57 Founds Corner Mall Road, and we're here on behalf of our client, Soundwater Dartmouth LLC, as part of the notice of intent filing. Also with me is Tom Liddy from Lucas Environmental. Tom's an environmental consultant and wetlands and soil scientist. We've been working closely with Tom on the notice of intent filing and proposed vegetation management plan that we'll be presenting this evening. Just a quick history for those not familiar with the center. Our client purchased this asset back in September of 2022. The center is about 194,000 square feet, and it's anchored by Kohl's, Bob's Discount Furniture, and the former Christmas tree shops. As of late, we've been working with our client on reviewing ways to increase curb appeal and visibility along Founds Corner Mall Road, with the goal of attracting some new businesses to the shopping center. And we focused our efforts on the area located on the western portion of the parcel, adjacent to Old Founds Corner Road. This is the area that's surrounded by the chain link fencing. And prior to our submission back in December, we had a meeting on site with Mark from the commission to review the proposed work and the existing site conditions. And the filing that we've presented this evening is consistent with those discussions that we had on site. So with that being said, I'll turn things over to Tom Liddy from Lucas Environmental to expand upon the existing conditions in our proposed vegetation management plan.
Thank you, Chris. For the record, my name is Tom Liddy, professional wetland scientist from Lucas Environmental. As Chris mentioned, we've been working together to develop a vegetation maintenance plan for an area located near Old Forest Connery Road. Mark, if I could share my screen, I'd like to bring up some of our plans and exhibits and just give to give more detail to the project.
Sure.
Go ahead, please.
Dartmouth
should have-
Community Television, could they have access, please?
Okay. Can you see a Google map?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, so as Chris mentioned, this is the shopping plaza. Here's the Kohl's anchor. The Lowe's is down here. Our area of focus is in this area here. I believe there's a Pet Depot right there. Here's an aerial view of the property and the area in question. Here's Old Fonts Corner Road. Here's the main access and exit for the plaza. Here's the pet area I mentioned. This is kind of an island in between, obviously, two service roads. The area we'll be proposing maintenance is in this area. You can see you can kind of make out in the photo the chain link fence and circulating a intermittent stream with associated bordering vegetative wetlands. Here are some aerial photographs, photographs of the areas we're talking about. Here you can see the access driveways right here. Here's the chain link fence, and this is the area that's fairly overgrown. This is the south area. This is the area up to the north. Again, the entire area is pretty well vegetated. Here's that chain link fence, and it's just choked out with bittersweet, Japanese honeysuckle, a number of different invasives. Here's another good example. So basically, this understory is really loaded with all the invasives you can imagine. Bittersweet, multiflora rose, honeysuckle, olive, burning bush. There are some native species such as willow and black cherry out there. So our plant and some oak trees. So our plan wants to save as much of that as we can while improving the diversity of the plant species. So this is the site plan we submitted. This entire area within the chain link fence is proposed to be managed. And when I say managed, I mean eradicated of all those invasive species that are in the understory. And we have two areas here. One, the entire area will be managed, but this area in orange here is what we're calling a more intensive management area, where not only will the invasive species in the understory be removed, but also several trees will be cut at about 2 feet from the surface to allow some visibility improvements to the plaza. The area, so this will create some soil disturbance, obviously, and there's so much invasives in the seed bank and the soil right now. Obviously, we need to have a plan to help revegetate this area, hopefully with native species. So this entire management area will be seeded with a conservation seed mix, which contains a variety of native species, and it's listed here in the plan. We're also introducing some new drought-tolerant native small low-growing shrubs to be planted within the intensive management area here, including bayberry, bearberry, sweet fern, and some junipers to increase the biodiversity, but also provide some vegetative cover to help mitigate some of the loss from the tree canopy there. So we have, in the notice of intent, we went through some commitments we'll make in terms of how this work will be done. Obviously, the greatest concern is to the brook and the BVW. A straw water line will be installed along the edge of the wetland here. And this edge is very well defined. The side slopes are towed in with riprap. So it's a very good break and slope. And all the work will be performed from the lawn area. So there'll be no contractors allowed to enter the stream or the wetland. All the work will be completed from the adjacent upland or old Fons Corner Road. And this really is intended, as I'm sure you're well aware, invasive species are difficult to manage, and we anticipate them coming back year after year. What we'd like to do is have this be an annual plan where the most intensive work will be done this year up front, where a lot of this invasive species will be removed. And then hopefully year after year, the maintenance become less and less as the natives begin to reestablish. But this is intended to be an annual management plan. And, that's kind of what we're asking for here because, we do anticipate the invasives trying to come back and, it's a constant battle. So that's the overall intent of the plan and the description. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask and I'll do my best to answer.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Liddy, and thank you, Mr. Serrano, for that. Mark, if you can stay here, your comments, please.
Yeah, this is an artifact situation from 1970s, 1960s development. The stream is a rerouted stream. The stream circumnavigates the entire plaza and has been rerouted. And aside from the fact that it carries water, there's very little value to it from a habitat point of view, but it is a resource area and it needs to be regulated under the law. The overall program, I think, is reasonable. And I'll make two comments. They referenced the more intensive or the yellow or orange as they refer to it area. And this is an area which really was designed to give the plaza, a streetscape from Fawns Corner Road. If you remember from the previous plans that Tom put up, the plaza is not directly on Fawns Corner Road. It's segregated by wooded area. It's segregated by Old Fawns Corner Road. And it's segregated in this area by this stream. So it is set off. Now it is a large plaza. And yes, when you drive by it, it's a plaza, but you really don't appreciate what's inside of it. You don't get a visual of it. So I think that the 1/3, 2/3 split on the management strategies is reasonable. And our existing standard order covers, annual maintenance throughout the life of the project, but also allows, and in this case, I think this falls into the category, allows for ongoing maintenance after the sunset of the orders. So I think that request is reasonable. The waterway needs to be protected by our standard erosion control condition of wattles, entrenched wattles, or hay bales, and silt fence. So we will certainly want that. I think the plant list that has been presented is very reasonable for the area. And one of the things that, I commend the applicant for is in discussing the tree removal in the yellow area, we did talk about, stumping them and letting them grow, leaders back so that the species would not be removed. It would just be a cover condition, more of a shrubby cover condition, as opposed to a tree cover condition. The area is fenced off and will probably continue to be fenced off for public safety reasons. So animal access would be somewhat limited. I would suggest that any fence that is replaced be replaced with a 4 to 6 inch gap at the base to allow for small critters to get in and out, which is a typical wildlife, mitigation tool that we use. Other than that, staff is going to recommend a standard order of conditions as per the vegetation management plan, which was shown this evening, dated January 27th, 2025. And the only additional condition would be just the gapping of any fence that's reinstalled so that critters can get in and out and access the water.
Okay.
And Mark, just a quick question. So the ask is only to have the 4 to 6 inch gap for any section of fence that's replaced. Any fence.
Well, I think
that's
they
not
have to replace
replaced.
the entire fence. The fence is
Okay.
really in disrepair. They're going to have to remove the fence to remove vegetation.
Quick question. In regards to the yearly maintenance they plan on doing, how are they going to enter? Are they going to create like a gate to get in? Or are you going to seal it off completely, the fence wise? Or are you going to remove like a chunk of it every year to get in there, to get equipment in there if you need to?
We would propose some sort of access way or a couple different locations to have some sort of gate to get in there.
Okay.
I'm not even sure if there's one at the moment. If there is, it's probably completely covered in vegetation. So
There is at least one gate in the fence now.
Okay. Yeah,
and
my thing.
And we did discuss gates in the site visit, and that's reasonable.
My issue when I heard about the wildlife, the critter, gap thing, I was thinking, what, worst case scenario, what if something gets in there and dies in there, and then you got to, how are you going to get in there and get it? So that's what I was wondering.
Well, we're talking about small critters.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
we're
understand.
not talking about, big mammals
Well,
getting in there.
yeah, no. Well, I'll play devil's advocate. Like say a swan with bird flu gets in there, that sort of thing. You know how they had up near Boston. I saw that and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's all. That was just play again, devil's advocate. That's all.
Okay, do any other commissioners have questions or comments? Okay, is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment on this application? I don't see any. All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote. Mike,
Yes.
Meg,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Liz.
Yes.
And I'm a yes, so this public hearing is closed. Per Mark's comments and comments from staff and the applicant, I'd like to entertain a motion for a standard order of conditions per to the plan dated January 27th, 2025, with conditions that standard erosion control measures, including wattles, entrenched hay bales, and a silt fence are installed, and any fence replacement should include a 4 to 6 inch gap at the bottom to allow for wildlife movement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been seconded. Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and Mike.
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all the time you've given, especially Mark, for having a couple meetings with us prior. So thank you very much.
Well,
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
All right, that brings us to our items for discussion. Looks like we've got a bill.
we do have a bill. $170 for general office supplies, paper, pens, labels, file folders, all interesting
Sent.
stuff.
The essentials.
Hey, we got the new truck. I'm happy.
All right, you need a motion for that, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
A vote,
motion to
yeah.
approve.
All right, let's entertain a motion to approve the payment of $170.23 for office supplies.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, so that is unanimously approved. Discussion items, Golan Farms.
Yes, this is a request by the proponent of Golan Farms subdivision to for conservation to accept let me rephrase. To accept an open space parcel under the OSRD, Open Space Residential Development Bylaw. When OSRDs are approved by planning board, which this one was, that reduces lot size and creates an open space parcel and but does not increase density of the entire parcel. This, and they're required to ask the Conservation Commission to accept the land with a conservation restriction. If we turn it down, then it goes to the select board if the select board wants to accept it separately. If they turn it down, then they have to go to a nonprofit like a DNRT or a Buzzards Bay Coalition. If they turn it down, then it can be held by the homeowners association. So this is the first step. When we at staff level look at these requests, we look at them for what is the value to conservation beyond just the green patch. And I say that because we do not have the staff to monitor and maintain everybody's open space parcel to the rear of their subdivision. So this particular parcel, and I did send you the letter, and I did send you a plan. The open space is accessed off the subdivision cul-de-sac, which is Fig Tree Lane, which is just off Fisher Road, just north of White Oak Run. The site is mostly wetland and buffer zone, so from a development perspective, there's not much anybody can do with that land. That's part of the reasons why it was turned over to open space. So it is already protected by state and local law and regulation. So there's no real driving force of value here. The value is already protected by law. The one thing that it does present is, if you look at the plan, if you have it, in the southeast corner of the plan, you see the corner of a lot, and that lot is owned by the estate of Wilford Francis. And as you know, we've had a long-standing enforcement action against them. It is in court. It continues to be a headache. And the only benefit I could see for conservation accepting this land is we would have a conservation restriction that abuts land that we have an enforcement order on. However, that benefit is really minimal, because holding the CR does not grant you abutter status. So you cannot act as an abutter to complain. So we really don't get any enhanced view here. My recommendation to the commission is that this particular parcel is of no particular unique value to conservation. It is already protected because it's largely wetlands and buffer zone. There was a lot of debris out there, so you take it, you got the liability. So I would recommend that the Conservation Commission passes on this particular parcel, and we would need a vote to that effect. Or opposing, or in opposition to my recommendation, whatever you prefer.
Okay. Thank you, Nick. Any questions or comments from any commissioners?
I concur with Mark's recommendation. This says our taking a conservation restriction, or the property itself even, would be of little benefit from a conservation standpoint. And I would suggest very minimal benefit relative to the Wilford Francis matter. So I would certainly concur with the conclusion. We, as a Conservation Commission, should say we decline to accept the offer.
Right.
And I can't overemphasize that when you accept a CR, there are annual obligations that you must meet. We hold approximately 16 CRs in town, and we haven't met our obligations on any of them. We just do not have the staff for it. And we are in constant debate over this. Open space is a wonderful thing. I love open space, but you got to be able to protect it. You got to be able to maintain it. You got to be able to manage it. And we have sites that become garbage dumps. And if there's a liability issue, it falls on us, and we have no way to protect ourselves against that. We are not set up for it. 20 years ago, maybe we were, but not right now.
So there are 16 CRs that the Conservation Commission holds,
I believe it's about 16, yeah.
and none of them have been checked up on or anything. And you're like,
Jim,
yeah,
we've held those CRs since I've been here, and I'm in my 10th year. we've never looked at any of those sites, I can tell you that.
Interesting. Interesting. All right.
Some of the sites, just for your knowledge, are in some cases incredibly small and essentially immaterial, if I recall
Yeah.
correctly, Mark.
Well, we don't hold CRs on those. Those are open
The C-
space
those are-
parcels that we have largely because they've been assigned to us through tax title.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough.
You know, so it's like in many cases in my readings, and those are different than this. Okay, this is a donation for CR purposes. So that has a certain amount of responsibility to it. The other parcels, the majority of them are not CR parcels. They're just open space. They're owned by the town of Dartmouth and in the care and custody of the Conservation Commission. That's what the deeds say. And those parcels can be anywhere from 25 to 40 acres. We have one that's 170 acres down to 0.19 acres. So, you know, when I say 200 parcels, it sounds like we own most of Dartmouth. A lot of it is small postage stamp stuff. So you couldn't even find these lots if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You know, so they're just out there. They're paper plots. They're part of old, what they called in the day, campground subdivisions. And what they were parcels of land that were cut up for the purposes of soldiers returning from both world wars to be able to stake a claim. And the majority of those parcels were never developed. Those people have died. Their heirs have gotten them. Their heirs don't even know they exist. They haven't paid taxes on them, and they end up going into tax title. And, you know, they got trees, they're green, so conservation wants them. So that's where they were assigned.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay. I believe it's procedurally appropriate to file a motion in the affirmative and then let those vote however they wish. So I'm going to entertain a motion to accept the CR for the open space at Golden Farms.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's been seconded. Roll call vote. Mike,
No.
Liz,
No.
Megan,
No.
Jim,
Nope.
and I vote no, and that passes unanimously.
Thank you.
All right. Mark, any enforcement orders or issues we should be conscious of?
Nothing new that we need to speak of. All I can tell you is we've sent a bunch up to town council. We haven't gotten a whole lot of response on them just yet. And frankly, I got so much work, I can't keep chasing them down every week. I try to follow up every couple of weeks, but I haven't heard anything on them.
All right.
Nothing dramatically new. The only thing I guess I could update you on is that 1342 North Hicksville Road, which we spoke about maybe the last meeting, in which there was some cutting and filling. This was the old auto salvage yard, Will and Company. If you went up North Hicksville Road, it was on the left-hand side about 2/3 of the way up towards Copacut Road. We did get in touch with Derek Reese, who's one of the brothers of the Reese Asphalt family. And he has indicated that he's going to work with us to try to rectify some problems up there. But it turns out that I think this has gotten bigger than just us. I think the public health office is involved now, and there's some zoning questions. So this is one of those North Dartmouth parcels that has largely been ignored, and now all of a sudden people are noticing it and saying, what the heck happened? And they're finding out that there's a potential for non-compliance in a number of different areas. They haven't concluded that yet, but they're investigating it, so that may become bigger than just us.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for the update. Just one thing from me before we motion to adjourn. I'd like to apologize. My mind's a bit elsewhere at the moment. My wife is 39 weeks pregnant, and I regretfully did not properly welcome Jim at the start of this. But I would like to say for the record that he's been approved by the Dartmouth Select Board and sworn in, I believe just yesterday. So thank you, Jim, for joining us. It's very much a welcome addition. I'm sure this first meeting was a bit of a whirlwind, but you'll get up to speed quickly. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited. You'll have to deal with my questions a little bit. I'm sorry.
That's great. It's good. Questions are good.
I like
How
the
you learn.
question. I like the questions. Absolutely. And by the way, I'd like to say something. Great job chairing the meeting tonight.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Especially
good
with
job,
no-
Nat.
with no pre-notice. That can be awesomely difficult. So good job.
Well, I've learned from the best, Mike. I've been watching you for a while now, so I had a good template to follow. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I suppose I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right. Roll call vote. Jim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Meeting adjourned.
Have a good night, everyone.